Hi, my name is Rilla and you're here with PUTINWORKTV.
Hello, welcome to PUTINWORKTV. We've enjoyed watching your journey and growth as an artist in the New England scene and really want to hear more about your story. Our focus is allowing our guests to tell their stories front and center without judgment or opinion. So let's dive in. How did it all begin?
For me, with this music stuff, I used to crump. So I danced in like 2000, probably 5, 6, and we used to go to a Boys and Girls Club. This is all in Framingham too. It's like the Metro West area. So we used to go to a Boys and Girls Club after school, and we would be dancing, and they actually took an old fire station and like reformed it into like a club. So the downstairs area was for like where all the kids would like interact with each other and like staff would just chill out and stuff like that. And there was like a second floor where there was like all the admin offices, but there was this one small room that they turned into a studio. And I was like, all right, like we were just like, yo, like let's make the music to crump to, you know what I mean? Like let's make some crump beats or whatever. And from there, like, you know, we just kind of started doing it, and then a lot of people fell off. But I was like, yo, I really want to try to like get into this. So I started making crump beats, and you know, I bring them to sessions and stuff like that. And people are like, yo, this is dope, or like, you know, tune this up here, whatever, blah blah blah. Then I slowly started getting into like hip hop, R&B, electronic music, and then that's kind of like where it all started. It really started through dancing.
That's fire. So like, have you been dancing your whole life?
I wouldn't say my whole life. I definitely fell into it in high school, but nah, I mean, like I definitely appreciated like dance and all the different arts and stuff. I've always loved music since I was like a little kid, but my mother, she's like super religious, and when I was younger, she would like coddle me, like she wouldn't like let me listen like all like, you know, worldly secular music. So she'd like let me like only listen to like Yo-Yo Ma or like Kenny G. So like I'm like kind of versed on classical a little bit and like jazz and stuff. But when I was in high school, we would, you know, just listen to music and stuff like that. But I really started getting into like listening to like hip hop and like more like radio ready music in like, it was like 2004, 2003. Like the first album like I listened to like unadulterated was like The College Dropout, and I was like, dang, this Kanye West guy, this guy's kind of crazy. Like I gotta like make beats. This is dope.
That's hard. That's hard. So were you like born and raised in Massachusetts? Like,
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Yeah, no. So originally from Roxbury, and when I was like 8 or 9, we moved to Framingham, and yeah, I mean, but like originally from, you know, Boston, Massachusetts.
Got you.
Roxbury, you know,
Wow.
right next to Slade's, Tremont Street.
That's fire, bro. Hold on 2 seconds, man. How do you feel like your upbringing really influenced your artistry?
To be honest, like just not knowing a lot of like songs people have common knowledge to, like I've still never heard like the Blueprint one. Like I haven't heard it all the way through. They're like, you know, a lot of like Nas stuff or like Alicia Keys, you know what I mean? Like I never listened to that music, so like when I listen to it like now, I'm like, oh shit, this is kind of crazy. Like, let me try to make something like this, even though this is like 20 years later, you know what I mean, or whatever, 30 or whatever. But it's kind of wild how like my lack of knowing the music at the time really just drives me to like make different things and make things like unconventionally. Because like if you're familiar with my sound, like I'm unique, like I'm a unicorn, I'm a one of one type thing, and it's just crazy because I don't think I am, but like when people hear my music, yo, Rilla's different. Like what did like your sound selection is crazy, and just like the way you go about things, the way you approach situations is always different. And I was like, oh, I get that just because of just lack of knowledge and experience and just going through what people normally went through, you know.
Honey, how did you come up with your name?
So when I was younger, if you can't tell by now, like I'm a friendly guy, like I'm a gentle giant, you know what I mean, like. But when I was younger, I used to get picked on a lot, and this one kid used to call me a gorilla, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna like turn that negative to a positive. So like, all right, let me just go by Rilla, and then Force really just stems from like everything I want to do in this music industry is just I just want to be like unstoppable juggernaut, like an unmovable force. So like Rilla force.
That's fire.
Yeah.
My fault. That's fire. So no Star Wars.
Nah. Shout out to George Lucas, but nah.
That's fucking okay. So how would you say the music and the art impacted your life?
I mean, it definitely like showed me more culture than anything. For example, like my first tour, like I went to Japan. That's my first time out of the country for work, and I wouldn't have got there was it because of music, because of the art. You know what I mean? It definitely just influences like my everyday choices, how I view things, my perspective, just and just being in that situation on tour. Like it's interesting because I wouldn't say like I have a super strong fan base out here, but then like it was like me and my label mate at the time. We were just walking around. We're in Shibuya, and like someone was like, "Yo," because they don't have L's like in the Japanese language, so they use R's. So I'd be like, "Oh, you're Rira," and I was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, you're Rira. You make this song," and I was like, "Oh, like wow, like this is, I guess that's why I'm here." You know what I mean? Because like people like resonated with my music overseas. So I was like, "All right, like let me just do that."
That's dope. So how did that? Like, what was that process or timeline like? You know what I'm saying? So you start making beats when you're in high school. You know what I'm saying? And then at some point, you know what I'm saying, people are rocking with your music, and you're flying out to Japan to do shows. I'm assuming, right? Like, what was that process like?
I mean, it was really just like a lot of networking and just meeting different producers, DJs, singers, songwriters. Honestly, it was just a blessing, and I'm just thankful enough to like have what I have, and be able to move the way I'm moving, because like I'm just a full-time musician. I don't have another job. Like music is like how I supplement myself. So it's I don't know. It's a dope feeling. But like how it really got there, SoundCloud definitely was a catalyst. Like I would release my music on SoundCloud, and eventually, like I said, like I started with crump beats and moved to like R&B, hip hop, and then like I started dabbling in electronic music. And the music that I would make like caught a lot of people's ears, like the UK or like Ireland or Japan. And that's just kind of where it all started, like through SoundCloud. Like I had this homie, he goes by Complexion, DJ Complexion. He lives in the UK, and he has a show called The Future Beats Show. And he used to play me on that like all the time, and that just like, he would repost my music on SoundCloud and just get like thousands of streams like in a day, and I'm just like, yo, like this is kind of wild, like, and then it'll just slowly like every song be like 10,000, 100,000, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of like how it started, really, when just like the community through the internet, making friends and like networking through the internet, just like being open-minded to like I wasn't doing anything out here like physically with people like this. It was all through the internet. So I was like, all right, like this is cool. Like, you know what I mean? You could really make, you don't have to make it in your hometown. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fire. So what do you call it? First off, is Future Beats part of Selection?
So Future Beats is a genre. Selection's vibe is like, Future Beats, Afro Beats, just anything like it's like forward thinking music.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Selection really focuses on like what's coming up ahead versus like what's popular right now.
Got you.
There's a lot of labels like that. Like Selection's one of them. Like Fool's Gold. Like
a
bunch of them.
Have you been on Selection before?
No, like I've been on their radio show before, but not on their like roster. Or, like I'm not like signed to them or anything.
Oh, I'm at the radio show.
Yeah.
That's fire.
Yeah.
I love Selection. I'm not gonna say.
No, you're good.
Man, hopping into some more news. How do you go about creating a beat? Because you're just so multifaceted in terms of your genres. So how do you do that?
I mean, it just really starts with the kind of vibe or atmosphere I'm in or what I'm feeling. But I don't know, when it comes to producing and songwriting, like I always just, it's really organic, man. I just kind of just go with like what I want to do. If I'm like producing, like if we're in the studio and I'm producing a record for you, like the way I like to approach production is just like almost like therapy. Like I'm asking you how you're doing, what you're feeling like, what's the vibe, what's the energy, what was last week like compared to this week, like, you know, let's tap into those feelings, so like that way, even if you don't know what you want to write about, you know what you want to write about.
Yeah. And then you make the music to bring that out. Okay.
Yeah.
Weird.
Keep it a buck too. Like, I don't just produce. I songwrite. I do everything. I engineer, DJ, everything.
Where can we listen to Rilla Force
Everywhere.
bars?
Everywhere. I just dropped EP earlier this year. Dropped like a remix of one of my songs called Feels with like Latrell James, Hassan Barclay, and Rothstein. Like, you go Spotify, YouTube.
You know what?
Anywhere.
That's my fault. I'm sorry. I seen
all
you
good.
heavily on TikTok. I follow you. You feel me? And I see you make beats. You know what I'm saying? And I projected that onto you that you're just a producer.
No. That's what I'm known for out here. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you know.
Gosh, you. Okay, so shit. Then let me ask you this question right here. When you create music, what do you try to give your audience?
Just I don't know, perspective into my everyday life, or like what I'm feeling, what I'm emoting. I really just want people to understand that like my main message is like win forever. Like, that's my mantra, because that's something I believe in. Like, I believe we all have the capacity to do great things, to take it to the next level, and to just do that on a constant basis. So win forever. And I feel like it just really, it matters to have that mindset and to also be yourself. Like, individuality is like our most important like superpower. Like, we all have like, you know, traits and shit that make us cool, but you are dope because you are dope. You're dope because you're dope. You're dope because you're dope, and no one can take that away from you.
Facts. That's fire, bro. So what is, I asked this already. What would you say motivates you the most?
Honestly, just like, you know, being like a black person in America.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like our demographic, not all the time, but I will say through my experience, has not been the greatest with like my upbringing, or like even my parents or my grandparents. And, you know, like my mother was the first one to graduate like college in our family, you know, and first one to buy a house, first one to really just she was just like the catalyst of like all the first things. And that really put a battery in my back. Like, you know, like, she did all this stuff, she sacrificed all these things for me. Like, let me go hard so I can, like, you know, pay off that house, or like let's start like let's get another crib, or like, you know, let's invest, like, let's really like go in. And that goes for like my partner, or like any of my family members, or like my friends and my family too. So like any of my friends, like, I want to be able to invest into you and like help you reach your goals and your dreams. So it's just honestly just like my environment around me, like people and what we have going on in our lives that really like inspires me to like just do better.
Talking about people around you, it's like, I'm gonna ask two questions. Let me know if it's too much, but one, how many siblings do you have? And two, who are like some of your like favorite artists in the Boston scene that you work with often?
I have two siblings. I have an older brother, older sister. And favorite artist to work with in Massachusetts, like, it's kind of funny. Like, I have a lot of really close friends in the music industry, but that doesn't necessarily mean we work together a lot. Like, I love like Latrell James, or like Oompa, or Maka. Like, this like, pretty much if you heard them, like, you know, we either met or they've heard of me, you know what I mean? And like 9 times out of 10, if we've met, like, we're cool, you know, like, we either kick it on a semi-regular basis, or like, you know, we're just like cool like that. But I mean, I don't really collaborate with a lot of people out here, you know what I mean? And I think that just goes back to just like people not knowing how to, like, obviously I'm here because like you like my music, right? And like you think it's dope, but not everyone can categorize what it sounds like, or like they just know like, oh, Rilla Force is dope, but like, do they make this? Do they make that? Like, what's going on? You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like sometimes with working with my peers, it could be like challenging, because like I make good music, but they don't necessarily know how it would fit.
Yeah.
But I do, you know what I mean? Because I make the music, so. But I mean, honestly, like, yeah, like I like everyone out here. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's really cool. You know what I mean? For the most part, and I don't know. Boston's just a cool city.
What do you call it? Who are some of your most frequent collaborators then if you don't work with people in the city office?
I work with Malik Elijah a lot. I work with this singer named Malia. I work with a homie from Baltimore, Kadeem Lamar. My homie Rothstein. I do work with Latrell every once in a while. Maka 3.0. Like, there's just a bunch of people. And, like, some people you probably never heard of, too. Because, like I was saying, like, I have, like, an international fan base. So, like, a lot of homies don't live out here. Like, my homie Romderful, like, he lives in South Korea. And, like, we're just, like, real close. And we just collaborate all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, very diverse.
Try to be.
Mm-hmm.
Hit me with the, let's see.
With the gram? Nah, I'm playing.
How would you say, actually, no, let's what would you wish, what are some things you wish you would have known before you started?
Just making music?
Yeah.
Probably just, like, knowing that I'm my biggest asset and that, like, pay attention to, like, what's in front of you versus, like, what people are telling you. For example, like, I got offered, like, a publishing deal from Atlantic Records, like, in 2017, and they discovered me through, like, my electronic music. They wanted to sign me as a record producer to produce other acts, which is counterintuitive. It doesn't make sense. Like, they wanted me to make hip-hop beats, but they liked me because of my electronic music. Yeah. So it's like, it ended up not going through, like, it didn't work out, which is fine. But it's like, I let that situation of, like, getting a deal dictate how I move for, like, the next couple of years. And that really just fucked up my whole flow. And, like I remember, like, all right, like, they want to sign me. Like, let me just, like, try to break some artists and get some placements. So, like, I was producing, writing, mixing, mastering, and sometimes even DJing for, like, maybe, like, 9 acts, like, for free, too, you know, like, pro bono, just so, like, doing that. And then, like, the shitty part about that is, like, not everyone's on your timetable. So, like, out of those 9 people I was producing, maybe, like, one of them dropped. And so, like, I was telling you earlier, like, I do music full time. So it's like, when I'm putting the focus on other people, I noticed, like, I wasn't releasing as enough music, and I wasn't touring as much or, like, doing shows as much. So it'd be like, all right, like, let me focus on these people. But then I was like, all right, like, I'm looking at my statements and, like, my, like, royalty checks. I'm like, yo, like, damn, this is, like, it's kind of light. Like, it's, like, hundreds of dollars light, to the point where it's like, damn, man, like, I shouldn't have done that. Because these people didn't sign me, you know? They didn't, you know what I mean? So it's just like, what was the point of that? Like, I should just kept doing what I was doing and just, you know, have a different opportunity happen, like, later. But all that to say, like, just, like, trusting your guns, man. Like, trusting your gut. Like, if you're on the right path and it seems to be, like, linear and, like, upward, like, stick to that, you know what I mean? Don't let someone, like, falter you or, like, say what they think you should do. Just keep doing what you're doing.
100.
You know what I mean?
That's facts. That's real. It's real as fuck. How would you say your personal life and your creative life interfere?
Honestly, like, they go hand in hand. Like, I'm a big gamer, so, like, I love playing video games. And then, like, my studio at the crib is, like, I have my workstation here, like, my desk and my monitors and all my, like, gear and shit. And then on the side, I have, like, my video games. So it's like, I just, like, all right, like, if I'm cooking up or I'm engineering a client or whatever or doing whatever, like, when they want to take a break or, like, smoke break or whatever, just, like, go get some lunch, I'm like, all right, let me just load up the Mario Party or something real quick, you know what I mean? Just, like, take the edge off or whatever. But, like, other than that, like, yeah, it's pretty synonymous. Like, I think they feed into each other. Because, like, I remember, like, early on, like, when I started, like, making crump beats, like, I would sample, like, a lot of video games.
Fucking, I was actually just about to ask you, bro, what do you enjoy the most? And you just brought up gaming.
Oh, yeah, no, I love anime and video games.
Same, I love anime.
How does that, how do those 3 things compare with your music? You know what I'm saying? Like, so is anime and video games over music, or is it like one big trifecta?
No, I mean, I feel like nothing's really at least in my experience, nothing's really over anything like all the time. Like when you have passion for anything, like it has its spot. Like when you're feeling low, like that could fill a void that makes you feel something, fulfill something. But no, I mean, like I love music, I love anime, I love video games, I just like art in general. You know what I mean? I like drawing and stuff. I wouldn't say I'm an illustrator like that, but I like doing it. You know what I mean? But they all have their different places, and they all definitely like give me a sense of fulfillment.
Where would you say I feel like there's a radiating force of goodwill coming from you. Where do you think you were like informed about that in your life in terms of like how you treat people and how you approach your music and everything?
That's moms, like honestly, just a strong-willed black woman raising 2 kids on her own, making it happen, and nothing like from my point of view, nothing but a smile on her face. So like I have nothing to complain about. You know what I mean? Obviously, I can complain, but who's gonna listen? To be honest, but like, for real, like I just like her influence on me. She's always expressed to me to just like just try to make the choices that you feel comfortable about, like later in life or even in the immediate, and I just owe a lot of like how my character and personality is to like my upbringing. So like my mom and my dad just really just healthy mix of both. I'm just like like a smoothie of both of them.
So, what would you tell someone who's looking to start their careers and like, get where you are?
Release your music. A lot of people don't release your art, whatever it is. But like if it's music, like release your music. You need to release bad music. You're gonna be ass. You're gonna be trash. There's a point in life where everyone, wherever they're like a genius at it or like at this creative output where it's like, damn, like they're really fire. I want to be like that. There was a point where they weren't, and that same thing with me. Like the beats always weren't good. The songs always weren't good. You know what I mean? And then like a lot of them are still up, and like I have it like that so you can see the progression. You really need to like humble yourself and like realize like, yo, like I know you want the best song, I know you want the best product out there, but it's like, yo, you really need to put this energy out that you currently have, and just have people give you your comments, your feedbacks, your likes or whatever, you know what I mean? And like keep it moving, because people like, not for nothing too, like niggas love an underdog, you know what I mean? People love to see like the growth and the come up. So it's like, use that to your advantage, like release your music. Don't be afraid to like, if things aren't perfect, that's okay, because nothing is perfect.
What would you say has been the hardest part of your journey as an artist?
Being accepted as an artist. You know what I mean? Like not many people think, like when I was just making like electronic music, like instrumental music, people would just be like, yo, like I like have an album, right? And I'm like having an album release party. And then people are like, yo, how do I buy these beats? I'm like, why? Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's not like, what do you mean buy these beats? Like, they're my songs, you know what I mean? Like, or like, for example, like when I'm performing them, because I DJ too, people coming up to me during my performance asking me about like, just trying to talk. And I'm like, would you go to Beyonce's venue and talk to Beyonce as she's singing? No, treat every artist the same way. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of, like, their clout or their stature or whatever. But, like, that's been the hardest for me, and I'm still dealing with that right now. That's probably one of the reasons why, like, I started to do more songwriting for myself and, like, release songs with, like more conventional, like, word songs, you know what I mean? Because it's, like, it's not like I haven't been doing that all the time. This, like, fairly recently, within, the last, like, year and a half, maybe 2 years. And, yeah, just, like, I feel like that's just been my struggle, but I feel like also too, it's how I perceive it, because it's like I used to want people to see me a certain way, and now I'm just like, I'm just gonna be who I am, and like you can see me how you want, but like at the end of the day, like I'm just me, you know what I mean?
It's the best way to be.
Yeah, man.
Okay, I got a couple more questions.
Yeah, go for it.
So this is gonna be a twofer.
Could do this all day.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And then also along with that, where do you see the New England music scene in 5 years?
I want to be like where I want to be. It's like I want to be a combination of like, and I'll give you artists as examples, like somewhere between DJ Khaled and Pharrell and like Diplo. So it's like I want to be still doing pretty much doing what I'm doing now, like on a grander scale. Like I want to be executive producing other artists that I've either been working with or like I've signed, God willing, and I want to, perform out. I want to DJ. I want to do live shows. I want to do all that stuff. And then I also just want to produce people and just, help the next generation, like the next, set of like, I don't know, little Rillas or whatever, like do their thing, you know what I mean? Because like, I don't know. I feel like for me, like I was telling you, everything's self-taught. Like I learned all this stuff by myself. There was no school. I didn't go to like Full Sail or something. Like I didn't go to college for that type of stuff. Like I just learned it. You know what I mean? It was through trial and error for like damn near like I don't know, like 18 years, something like that. So it's like it's a lot. You know what I mean? So it's like all right, like let me just like really just tap into that and just, I don't know, just like go with that. But no, to answer, I'm kind of rambling. But to answer your question, like definitely want to like be in a better position than I am right now. But like pretty much the same stuff. Like I'm doing everything I want to do. I just need capital. I just need a budget. That's it. When that happens, it's game over though.
So what would you say is the most substantial moment in your career?
I think like so I released my first body of work called R&BDM. It was in September 1st, 2016. It's my first ever like independent release by myself. Like I think it's like 6 songs or whatever. And I remember in December or November, I got like a Spotify playlist. It was like Fresh Finds or whatever or something. I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, this is dope. And started to get a bunch of plays. And then like January of 2017, I was like, oh, this is weird. Like I checked like my distributor account, like where you collect royalties and like distribute your music to like different platforms. There was like $1,000 in there. I was like, oh, that's weird. That must be like off. And the next month it was like the same thing. The next month it was like 800, 900, 1100, whatever. So I was just like, all right, like I'm clearly doing something right. Like let me keep doing this. So like by October of 2017 or September of 2017, I like quit my day job and I just decided to pursue music full time. And at the time I was managed by this guy that lived in California. I took a trip to LA for like a month to just like network and meet with people and meet with Atlantic Records and to do some work with them. And honestly, like that moment of like seeing, like it's one thing to like get money from your music or whatever. It's another thing to like see it change in front of you. Like for me, the point was like, all right, like I got on that playlist and I started to like see things differently. Like more people started hitting me up. Like they would DM me like randomly or like go on my SoundCloud and comment more like on my songs and stuff like that. Like I was getting crazy amounts of engagement. And I was like, yo, like this is weird. Like what did I do? And like that was just the catalyst that was just so important to me because it really just taught me like, all right, like you have something going on with you, man. Like maybe you should just keep doing that and like see what happens. And like that's kind of it. Like I always think about that day. It's like, damn, man, like I got on that playlist and that literally changed my life.
That's hard. So like, I feel like that's majority of the questions I have for you, but you know what I'm saying? Like, let me see real quick. Yeah, I think I just like, is there anything you want to just tell the audience like off the top, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, you know what I'm saying, last words or like, you know, ending words, closing words. Closing words. My fault.
I knew you knew. No, I mean honestly, like I just appreciate anyone who's like down to listen to me, down to like give my music a chance, and I just really appreciate everyone who's rocking with me right now, and just you know, support local music, support Black business. You know, I don't know, dog. Like, I'm here. I'm happy to be here, and like, I really appreciate everyone who's like tuning into this right now, and just, you know, hopefully this helps you and gives you the support that you need to like grow and flourish too. Alright, yo. So that was my interview with PUTINWORKTV. My name is Rilla. That's it. Peace.